So hello and welcome to CBJ Interactive with Debra Brown. Thank you for joining me.
You're
and I'm just
welcome.
going to introduce you to our audience, a quick bio. Debra Brown is known all over the world. She has been working with Cirque du Soleil since 1987. She has worked with opera companies, Olympians, Celine Dion, Aerosmith, one of my favorites, and Madonna, also one of my favorites, to name a few. You have also choreographed for the blockbuster films Van Helsing, starring Hugh Jackman, and Catwoman, featuring Halle Berry, just to name a few. So thank you again. And how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Great. And
Yeah.
how are you coping with things?
I'm dancing a lot. Dancing, yes, online, and that feels fantastic. And just taking time to do things that you don't have time to do. And I have to say, it's so good to eat at home. This is the longest period I've gone, I think, in my life without going to a restaurant.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Doing everything at home. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're keeping busy, which is good. Lots of dancing.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 That's key, right?
And loving working with the dancers online. Loving it.
Amazing. So let's get into it. So we at CBJ are thrilled that you're working on this piece with all the dancers. Let me start by asking you, how did this all come about?
Well, I'm not sure. I know Cameron Smiley.
Okay.
Do you know Cameron?
Yes.
And I know he had mentioned, and I had met with Bent at Christmas time when he was doing the Nutcracker. I went to Guelph to meet him, and we talked about possibly in a year from now doing some kind of a workshop.
Right.
And I wasn't really familiar with the work of the company. I did see the Nutcracker, and I saw the personalities and love the personalities of the dancers. And then, we left it at that. But then with this whole circumstance of being at home, Bent had contacted me again and talked to me about doing something online. So that's how it started. And I was, yes, it started like that.
You have titled the piece, The Home Show, to the song Cry to Me by Solomon Burke's. Amazing song. I love that song. And
isn't it?
It's like one of the best songs, right? And your inspiration is Gene Kelly. Can you talk about why you picked these inspirations and like how this came to you?
Okay, well, I was looking at, it came up on my website, Cry to Me with Gene Kelly, and it was, Solomon Burke and Gene Kelly dancing with his soul. So there was two Gene Kellys, and I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah,
and I spent time at home and I started to study it and learn how his timing. And this was prior to Ben calling me. And then when he called me, I had no plan for an online. I've never actually worked online before like this. This is all new. So it was very spontaneous. I gave him, Bent, a few videos, and he loved the video of Gene Kelly. So I thought, okay, how do we work at home? And I had a conversation with Hannah, who's also working, Hannah Keel, who's working with the dancers. And I thought that was interesting how she was doing it. And I thought, I don't know these dancers. They don't know me.
Right.
And how do we work at home? Okay, that's how the home show came about. I always remember when they did the home show, I know Greg Parks was in it, whether it was Danny Grossman or back in Toronto. And I would always say to them, you should redo the home show because it was so much fun. So, I like to use props that are at hand. I'm known for using props. So I sent out the video to the dancers, and it was pretty. Whoop, you keep falling. Sorry. I need to tape you. Hold on, Dana. I need to tape you so you don't fall over. I need a tripod. There you go. How's that?
Perfect.
And the part I gave them prerequisites. It was a way to get to know them. It's a starting point. Whether we end up there, that's not the question. I needed to get to know the dancers to see how they interpret and where they're at. So, I gave them mandates, told them to look at the rhythm of Gene Kelly. Also, we are on screen. So I wanted them to make an entrance. And in that entrance, one of the prerequisites was they had to get my attention as an audience viewer right away. And, they had, and to use the props in their apartment. So they were very vague. And the videos that are coming back are so different. I find that I'm watching them, they're like little bursts of gifts throughout the day when they come, because I don't know these dancers, so I'm just meeting them.
Right, yeah.
And through the videos and how they interpret it, it's taking me on a journey with each individual one, how to work and what we focus on. With everyone, it's something different. So every dancer is different, and I love that, because in a way, I hope we can draw on their strengths and bring them out and find unique vocabulary. And this is a way that I love to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And how has the process been? Like, they send you videos, and then do you look at it alone, and then do you kind of respond with the dancers after? Like, how is the whole exchange going with the videos?
Well, we're in the very beginning process of it, but they send me videos, and then I have sometimes I record comments and send it right back.
Right.
Knowing that I don't know them, they don't know me. So very simple, something that they can clearly understand if I want them to relook at certain moments. And other ones, we've scheduled 30-minute sessions where we meet. In some cases, we dance in those 30-minute sessions. It depends on who it is and how they interpreted their videos. And in other cases, we discuss about what to work on. And so this will be week 2, where I'll receive more videos. So everyone is so different.
Yeah.
And what I find with Ballet Jörgen is they are all so different. They're like little jewels. They're like the Milky Way. Everybody's like a little star in the universe, and they're all so unique with their own strengths. And
Absolutely.
I love that.
It's true.
I totally love that.
They are all completely different, and they all have unique qualities that is just so refreshing. And it's great that you like picked up on that like so early in meeting them.
It's funny, we could call it the Milky Way. They are the Milky Way.
Yeah.
A bunch of little stars.
Yeah.
They all contribute in different ways.
Yeah.
And so, and that I love, because, I spending so many years inside a circus where, a circus is about celebrating each individual talent. It's about individuality. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
And I think that we can go far just as I get to know them and find out where their strengths are and where their personality speaks.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of direction, and I love that, because I'm not necessarily looking for something concrete. I'm looking for something that is invisible. And often in their innocence, I'll see something and catch it. There is the guidelines of the music, and there is the restrictions of their apartment.
Yeah.
And so how they interpret it is our starting point.
Yeah.
If we were in a studio, it would be very different. Maybe we would change the music 1,000 times. Maybe we wouldn't use music. Yeah. But because we're on video, that is just the starting point. And it's so fun. Like, wait till you see some of these videos.
I can't wait.
And every video takes off in a different way. Sometimes it's theatrical, sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's just a small little note that is camera.
Amazing. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I have to think that I am on the other end of the camera. And so in a way we're doing dance for camera.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a live audience.
Yeah.
And this is all new to me. Well, you know, creating dance for camera is different than creating dance for stage.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And what I love about Ballet Jörgen is how many characters there are and how their personalities are so different. And I believe when you come to see a performance, if you can first connect with the human being behind the dance, that's what I'm always going for. I believe fall in love with the human, and then love the dance or love the art form.
Yeah.
You know, so I believe that, and I'm always looking for that.
So during this whole time, there's just so much dance online. There's no shortage of, you know, like classes and, you know, small pieces and all new content online. What do you hope will be the difference?
You have to be true to the process and love the process, I believe.
Yeah.
And if at every second of the process you're entertained and you're loving it, we're in a good way, and it will be unique because they're all so unique in their interpretations. Their personalities are so unique. I'm telling you that it will be different. But I mean, who's to say, because we're all in this boat together. We can only hope that it will reach out. Let's see what happens. Right now, the goal is to keep entertaining ourselves, and then that stretches one step at a time, right?
Yeah, very true.
We have to keep a sense of innocence about how we search, and a spontaneity. I would like to, at any rate. And to keep it, but so far it's pretty original, just because they are them and they are interpreting it in their own way without the influence of anyone else, only them. So this is different, you know. But now, you know, many online content is coming on. So this is that's a very good question, Dana, that we should probably revisit at a level, you know, further on in the project.
Yeah.
But you know, the music, number one, is so uplifting.
It is.
You know, and that's important when you're home all day, to have a piece of music that you can listen to all day, and that it feeds you and can inspire you to be creative.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a big part of what music does, right? It's
exactly.
It takes you to another place, right?
Exactly.
Which is really needed right now, for sure.
You know, I have not spent the last 30 years working with professional dancers. I have worked with professional dancers sporadically in my career.
Right.
But I work with movers a lot. I've worked with movers a lot. So the process that I bring, I think, is very different to the dancers. You know, working with Franco Dragoni for so many years at Cirque, interestingly enough, we played like kids every day. We went home, if we did not go home inspired that day, which was very rare, we went home inspired every day through the spontaneity, because we made sure of it. If we were not inspired, we would take a drastic right turn to feel moved. And that process created an inspiration. And we worked with the talent of the performers, the unique talent of them, to get it. And that process would build every day. So everyone would become more on board because we were all involved. And I realized after we stopped working together, Franco is now in Belgium, that it wasn't really about creating the show. It was about creating a community, and the electricity of that community was something that was invisible that drew the audience to the show. It was almost like a drug.
Is there any particular story that you would like to share with us about something either like crazy that happened or something really meaningful that, you know, just stick? It's just a story that, you know, really sticks to you that you remember?
Oh my God, there's
a juicy
so many
detail.
There's so many, but I have to tell you, I had so much fun with Aerosmith. I worked with them twice.
God. Wow, that's amazing.
So much fun. I have had so many different experiences working on the Academy Awards. I wrote and directed the Academy Awards tribute to special effects that Cirque did in 2002, and won an Emmy for that. And that was a unique experience. But there's so many. I have met so many inspiring artists and all over the world. You know, one that comes to mind when you asked me that, I thought, well, what do I say? How do I? Because there are so many. We have to. But I remember when Cirque, the first I joined, I snuck under the big top in 1986 in Vancouver. They were at the Children's Festival. I snuck under the big top it's kind of two stories I'm going to tell you. At intermission, and the second half was 2 hours long, and I was, because I was working with gymnasts at the time, Olympic level gymnasts, but they were also performing, and we were making art out of sport. And I thought, wow, they're making art out of circus. But they need a choreographer. That second half is 2 hours long. That's what I said to myself, you know. But anyway, many circumstances happened. The next year was their first year outside of Canada, and I got the job. They decided to add a choreographer to the team. So we opened up in LA at the LA Festival of the Arts, which was music, dance, and theater all in one. And all the music was all the music of John Cage, an avant-garde composer, all different performers from all over the world performing his music. And I remember being in a restaurant and John Cage was there, but I thought he looked familiar, and I had studied his music at York University, where I studied dance. And I thought he was the piano player for Paul Sanasardo when I went to New York to study, and I was sure he was. So I went up to him and I said, "Excuse me, do you play the piano?" And he said, "Yes." And I grabbed him by the head. I said, "Where do you live? Do you live here?" And he said, "No, I live in New York." And I grabbed him by the shoulders and I said, "You're the piano player for Paul Sanasardo." And I was so proud. And then my friend said, then I realized it was John Cage. So that's one story that came to mind. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, but there's so many. I have been very fortunate to work with amazing artists along the way, and different processes, you know, different experiences.
Yeah. Is there anyone you haven't worked with that you'd like to?
Oh, I really wanted to work with Prince.
Oh,
I really love Prince. We came close to it a few times.
Yeah. Wow.
Close to it, but I would have really loved to work with Prince.
Yeah.
I think he was a genius musically, and studied his music and his rhythms. And I am happy for the opportunity to work with Ballet Jörgen right now. This is wonderful. This is really inspiring for me, with all the colors that are in this ballet company.
Yeah, absolutely. The dancers are very inspirational, and they always continue to inspire me too, all the time.
I would like in this whole song that we feature Ballet Jörgen, all the dancers of the Milky Way.
Yeah. It sounds
Yes.
really good. So
And
you would have clips that pretty much make up a full piece, right?
yes,
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
music. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, the music is a good vibe. I have to be interested. How are they going to get me, the audience? You know, that's a big thing with dance that I enjoy working with dancers. I mean, working with circus for so long. Circus by nature comes from the street.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, street performers, if they did not communicate, they did not eat. They didn't make any
Yeah.
money that day.
Right.
And that is the blood of circus, which was a thread through everything that we did, taking the audience with us through those whole years,
Yeah.
which is interesting, which is, you know, I believe if you want to survive as a dancer, we have to have an audience,
Yeah, absolutely.
hopefully.
Right. Yeah. So thank you again. And
Thank
until
you.
next time, take
Yes.
care.
You
Be
too,
well.
Dana.
Thank
Nice,
you.
nice to meet you.
Same here.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.